Imagine a quiet American city just waking up. The sound of church bells ringing softly. Sunlight dancing through stained glass windows. Inside, children fold their hands in prayer, their voices innocent, their parents certain that nothing could harm them here. But in less than a minute, that illusion is shattered. Bullets tear through colored glass. Pews splinter like matchsticks. The voices of prayer turn to screams. 2 children will never walk out alive. 17 more are left bleeding on sacred ground. And outside, the gunman stands, not just with weapons, but with smoke bombs, barricades, a plan, and a manifesto filled with hate. He calls himself a monster. He leaves behind letters, videos, and chilling symbols of evil. Why did he target this church? What secrets do investigators now uncover in his writings? And how does a 23-year-old local, tied by blood to the very school he attacked, descend into chaos? So horrifying. It leaves a city scarred forever. Tonight, we unfold the haunting story of the Minneapolis church massacre, where faith met terror.
Hit that subscribe button
so you never miss the next story that will keep you awake at night. Now, let's begin with Mr. Vanachet. It was Wednesday, August 27th, 2025. Minneapolis had just begun another ordinary day. The air was cool, the sky painted in shades of gold and pale blue as the sun climbed. Parents hurried through the streets of southwest Minneapolis, dropping their children at Annunciation Catholic Church and school. For nearly 100 years, this church had stood as a pillar of safety, community, and faith. By 8:25 a.m., classrooms were filling with chatter. Teachers reminded students to settle down, and in the church's sanctuary, stained glass windows cast streaks of color across the pews, where children whispered morning prayers. The youngest were barely 9, their voices soft, their hands folded. For the parents walking away from the doors, it was routine, familiar, safe. But at 8:32 a.m., safety broke. The first gunshot cracked through the morning, echoing across Harriet Avenue. A loud pop, so sharp, neighbors thought it might be construction. But when the second and third shots followed, the sound was unmistakable. It was gunfire. Inside the stained glass windows, portraits of saints, angels and crosses exploded inward. Shards of red, blue, and gold rained down on children sitting in the pews. Screams tore through the air. Teachers shouted for students to duck, to get down, to crawl. Some children froze, clutching each other. Others cried out in pain as glass sliced their skin. The bullets kept coming. Wooden pews splintered, hymnals shredded, rosary beads scattered across the blood-stained floor. The sacred hall had turned into a killing ground. Outside, the 23-year-old Robin Westman stood with chilling calm. He was armed with a rifle, a shotgun, and a pistol. By his car sat smoke bombs, wooden barricades, and extra ammunition, tools for something far bigger than random rage. His face betrayed no emotion. His targets were the most innocent children. Within minutes, the toll was devastating. 2 children, aged 8 and 10, collapsed lifeless between the pews. 17 others were hit. 14 of them were children, their small bodies torn by bullets and glass. 3 adults were struck while trying to shield the students. Blood soaked the marble floor. A place of prayer had become a scene of horror. Neighbors ran outside at the sound. One woman, sipping coffee on her porch, dropped her mug as she saw smoke drifting from the shattered windows. Another man, a father who had just dropped off his daughter, slammed his brakes and tried to run back. but police barricades stopped him. Panic spread across the block as sirens wailed. When Minneapolis police arrived minutes later, the shooting had ended. Officers moved in, expecting an ambush. Instead, they found Westman's body in the parking lot. He had turned the gun on himself. The attack lasted less than 10 minutes, but the aftermath would haunt the city forever. Ambulances raced through the streets of Minneapolis, carrying children, fighting for life. At Hennepin Healthcare, 10 victims arrived. 1 adult in critical condition. 3 more wounded, but alive. Across town, Children's Minnesota, 7 more victims, ages 9 to 16. Inside the emergency rooms, chaos. Doctors covered in blood, gloves trembling as they tried to stop the bleeding. A war zone where innocence was slipping away. The news spread instantly. Parents swarmed the church. Some fell to their knees in relief. Others, frozen in agony. 2 families heard the words every parent fears. Their children were gone. Investigators dug deeper, and what they found was darker than anyone imagined. Westman wasn't a stranger. His own mother had once worked at that school. The connection chilling. On his laptop in a letter, 4 pages, handwritten, he spoke of depression, of cancer, of becoming something inhuman. His words, "I am a horrible monster for what I will do. But I cannot stop myself." Alongside that letter, a manifesto, ramblings of hate, praise for killers Adam Lanza, Brenton Tarrant, hatred for Christians, for Jews, for minorities, sketches of the church, firearms scarred with Nazi symbols. It was the diary of death. And then the videos uploaded to YouTube. Westman rambling about violence, weapons marked with slurs, his promise, turning places of peace into places of fear. The FBI rushed to take them down, but the damage was done. Every frame, every word, showed his obsession with guns and killers. Authorities had no doubt this was domestic terrorism and a hate crime. At a press conference, silence fell. Police Chief Brian O'Hara whispered, "Children are dead." Mayor Jacob Frey, voice breaking, said, "This wasn't just violence. This was an attack on innocence itself." The world responded. The Vatican, the Pope himself, offering prayers. Outside the shattered church, 600 mourners, candles flickering, parents clutching photographs, survivors holding hands, a broken rosary, glowing in candlelight, and a father sobbing. She begged me not to go to school today. I told her no. I told her school was important. Now she's gone, and I don't know how to tell her brothers. The horror rippled far beyond Minneapolis. Even at a baseball game in Toronto, silence. An entire stadium, remembering children. But as Westman's identity emerged, debates ignited. Anger, hatred, scapegoating. The mayor pleaded, "Do not turn this tragedy into a weapon against millions. This was one person. Still, questions haunt the investigation. Why bring smoke bombs, but never use them? Why barricades, untouched? Was it personal? Tied to his mother's past? Or was it pure ideology? Pure hate? The FBI still searches, through every page, every video. But the picture remains the same. A man spiraling between illness and extremism, consumed by destruction, obsessed with being remembered. And so Minneapolis
is left scarred.
Children flinch at sudden sounds. Parents hesitate before letting kids leave for school. And the church, shattered, stained glass, gone. Pews marked with bullet holes, bloodstains, faint but never forgotten. The name Annunciation Catholic Church will never be the same, not just a place of prayer, but a place where screams once echoed. August 27, 2025, a day when innocence was stolen, and a haunting truth remains. If children are not safe and in prayer, where are they safe at all?